Coming to you from Keiko Studios, it's The Balcony Show with Ann Thatcher, Bo Summer, Mike Roy, Donna Gallucci, and me, the Mad Cat. We have searched the globe for the best in indie music so you don't have to. So here we go, The Balcony Show.
Friends in faraway places, sent with love and good vibes. Just keep an eye out for just what's coming. It might be a surprise.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Balcony Show. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Mad Cat. Hello.
Hello. No.
So, he gave us an update on the flamingo. Mm-hmm. We are a flamingo down and a flamingo out.
Yep. Flamingo decided to, well, it happened oddly enough at the same time from what I understand. The flamingo at the pond decided to just fly off, probably start making his trek back south. And the other flamingo that was in the rehab center died in transport. So,
that's a shame. So next, the blue-chinned deer.
Yeah, the blue-chinned deer. That radioactive thing's probably dead too now. I'm sure that'll have no adverse effect on the local wildlife down there.
But first,
everywhere I goes, but first.
Useless facts. Facts that are freaking useless.
That's what I'm saying.
and these are especially for Larry. On today's show,
dedicated to Larry.
Useless facts about lobsters. We'll try to buzz right through these real fast. Useless fact number 1. They eat each other. Oh, good Lord.
All right, move on.
Yeah, they're looking for fresh food and what's around. And if it happens to be another lobster, well, then it's dinner.
Interesting.
If you gotta, if we're stuck out in the Alps somewhere, sorry, ladies, somebody's going down. Mad Cat's gotta eat. All right. Useless fact number 2. They chew with their stomachs.
Ooh.
Did you know that?
No.
Well, that's interesting.
Did not know that.
What's all that ugly stuff that moves around on their face then?
Oh, you're about to find out.
Oh, am I?
Next.
The grinding structure for breaking up food called the gastric mill. Nice. Kind of like a set of teeth on their stomachs. I could probably use a set of teeth on the inside of my stomach.
I would like to take one apart to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, come over when my husband is eating a lobster.
There you go.
He dissects it. He eats the green stuff.
All right.
You know what that is?
I don't like whatever stomach stuff and oh god.
All right. So useless fact number 3.
Lobster vomit.
Yeah. Their shells were once used to make golf balls. I did not know that.
Wow. Did not
Shells
know that.
left over after lobster processing are usually tossed into landfills. So in an effort to make them worth something and keep the money in the lobster industry, a University of Maine professor created golf balls with a core made out of lobster shells. They are also biodegradable. That's great. All right, so useless fact number 4, Larry, I hope you're enjoying these. Lobsters pee out of their faces, and there we have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Definitely enjoy that one right now.
You might look a little differently at the next lobster you see when you learn how they excrete their waste. Good thing we don't eat their faces, right?
Oh my goodness.
A lobster pees from openings or nephrophores, whatever that is.
Nephrophores.
Yeah, that. Located at the base of its second antennae.
So I answered that question, didn't I?
Disgusting.
Do you guys eat lobster?
No,
What's that?
Yeah, me neither.
I
I
do.
don't eat
I
any
love lobster.
seafood.
Me too.
I'm not a
I
seafood
love lobster.
fan.
Me neither.
Lobster, shrimp.
Give me pasta and meatballs.
Yes.
Yeah. With lobster and some shrimp.
Lobster and butter with a nice fat, juicy steak.
That's what I'm saying. So that's going to bring us right into useless fact number 5. lobster relationships last about 2 weeks, which is usually as long. I must be a lobster. Where's Phoebe at? He is their lobster. You don't know that episode of Friends? Yeah, I do. All right. Female lobster visits the most dominant male in the neighborhood and entices him into mating by peeing in his shelter.
Again with peeing.
What's the matter with the women of this world? You know, you just
Could you imagine if that was a human trait?
you know what I mean? Right. She just walks up and just pisses on your floor.
Or the new thing, go over to somebody's house and pee in their living room and go, or their bedroom and go, I identify as a lobster.
Are you
Here
ready
we
for,
go.
Are you ready for some coitus then? That's great. That's awesome. Yep. Yep. After several visits, the male gets the message and lobster love ensues. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is our useless facts of
But wait,
lobsters. What?
you got to finish it because
Oh, I got to finish it? I mean, why do I hear that all the time? I got to finish. All right. So, peeing, shelter, lobster love ensues. Ah, here we go. First, the female has to disrobe or molt. After the deed is done, she hangs around until her shell has regrown, then takes off. The whole rendezvous takes between 10 days and 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, see, that's the thing. Come over, piss on my floor. You get a little something, and then you got to stick around. No. Make a sandwich.
so much
get out.
so much for make a sandwich, get out.
Yeah.
Love with the Mad Cat. Make a sandwich and get out.
That's what I'm saying. Peace. You peed on my floor for crying out loud.
I identify as a lobster man.
Gross.
Anyways, we are going to get things started with this crazy show tonight. I can't wait for you to hear Larry's interview. He is a man of many talents. So first, we're going to start with the song "Smiling in the Islands" by Mac Meadows, and take a listen. And we'll be right back with the rest of the show.
I'm sending you a postcard, the picture is clear. I'm finally having fun, I'm glad you're not here. I've had all the heartbreak that I'm gonna take. The only thing breaking now's those big old ocean waves. I'm smiling in the islands. I do my best to suffer, dipping lobster in hot butter. I'm trying to start crying, but baby, please forgive me. The tears, they just stayed in me. I guess I'll have to spend every day and every night just smiling in the islands without you. For the rest of my life, smiling in the islands. It's hard on the eyes watching these bikinis. It's hard on the arms lifting apple martinis. But someone's gotta do it, so I'm doing what I can. It's hard work working on a full body tan while smiling in the islands. I do my best to suffer, dipping lobster in hot butter. I'm trying to start crying, but baby, please forgive me. The tears, they just ain't in me. I guess I'll have to spend every day and every night just smiling in the islands without you. For the rest of my life. Got a lime in one hand, a beer in the other. Got every intention of putting them together and putting you out of my mind forever. I'm smiling in the islands. I do my best to suffer, dipping lobster in hot butter. I'm trying to start crying, but baby, please forgive me. The tears, they just ain't in me. I guess I'll have to spend every day and every night just
folks, welcome back to the Balcony Show. And right now we have the first song from tonight's interview with Larry Dvoskin. The song is called Life is Strange. And when you're here on the Balcony Show, ladies and gentlemen, it really is freaking strange. Lobsters that pee in your house, things going on, shells coming off. I don't know. Well, give it a listen. And when you come back, we're going to have Larry on the line. Here we go.
The Nipsey Gypsy thought it was hip. She abandoned ship. She couldn't swim. The roly-poly prayed to the holy guacamole god named Jim. I feel like I'm living in a Salvador Dali painting. I feel like a Fellini star in a movie that's gone too far. Yes, life is strange, life is strange, life is strange, life is strange. The cock star, rock star, look like a lobster with a rooster's head and fish nose beak. The Gucci, Pucci, Rucci's changed her sex so she'd look chic. I feel like I'm living in a Salvador Dali painting. I feel like a Fellini star in a movie that's gone too far. Yes, life is strange, life is strange, life is strange, life is strange. All day long they dress in their normal suits, pretending they are sane. But when they're alone, they think naughty bugs like vulgar insects in their brain. Romulus, Bomulus read existentialist books in his hotel of doubt. And Spartacus, Articus, just laughed at this whole world as he checked out. I feel like I'm living in a Salvador Dali painting. I feel like a Fellini star in a movie that's gone too far. Yes, life is strange, 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 life is strange.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Balcony Show, and we are very excited because we have the one and the only Larry Dvoskin. He is a #1 best-selling songwriting author on Amazon Books, a Grammy-nominated songwriter, producer. He is the founder of Miracle Music, Inc. He has been described as a turbocharged influencer because of his connections to top-tiered individuals in the music, film, and television culture. And he has worked with, just to name a few, a variety of artists: David Bowie, MGMT, Sammy Hagar, Sean Lennon, Bad Company, and I'm tired. Oh,
I'm exhausted just hearing that.
I need I'd be like, I need a nap, Larry.
Yes, I need a nap too. Just hearing you mention all that, like, gosh, my hair got gray and a beard grew, and I look like the Cowardly Lion in The Wizard of Oz. Need a nap or something. No, but thank you so much. It's, when you're doing what you love, the idea of retirement doesn't make sense because you're already doing what you love that you would do if you retired. So why stop doing it is what I say.
And I gotta say, I'm really excited because you're here to talk about a collaboration with Al Jardine.
Yes.
You co-produced this and co-wrote this song with him. How fun is that? You've been friends with Al for a long time, correct?
Yeah, that is correct. We recorded things over the years and at his studio and mine and this and that. We were in my apartment in New York after our Beach Boys concert, and the neighbors literally a block away across the courtyard was shouting, "Shut the music off, I'm trying to sleep." And, the Beach Boys all live in these huge ranches and houses because they're rock stars. And they were like, "What's that?" I'm like, "The city that never sleeps. We found the one person at 3 a.m. that's sleep." And they don't know that members of the Beach Boys are like in my living room singing with the windows open because it's so hot in the middle of July. And for years, Al Jardine was like, "Did you find that person? We'll send a limo." Like he felt guilty, like that we were just, because they're used to people standing in line for hours and paying lots of money. And, it's just that the people didn't realize it wasn't like a tape or a record playing. They didn't realize that.
How did that friendship form initially? How did you get to know Al, and how did your friendship form over the years?
Yeah. There are two royalty collection companies, ASCAP, BMI, actually CSAC is the third. And what they are is accountants. They just figure out how many streams you've had. They have computerized systems for live performance of things online, on radio and movies. One of the heads of writer relations, Mark Freed, who went on to form a very successful company, Spirit Music Group, introduced me. I went to Al's Big Sur Ranch, and I was just, as the English would say, gobsmacked. Like, he lives in the middle of a state park, so there are mountains on one side with redwoods and ocean on the other. And he's always been like if Brian Wilson is Batman, he's always been Robin. So he's an accompanist, and he just had some ideas and inspired me to step in and take the lead. And I'm the least likely person to write a Beach Boys song. I'm from the East Coast. I don't surf. I'm Jewish and I'm gay. Like how many things can you line up in one sentence that are like the opposite of America's band? It appeals to everybody. And we released a version of it, and I came on the Balcony Show, I think, in 2021. When we did a charity version of the song for the World Central Kitchen that was feeding the nurses and the doctors during the pandemic. It was still going strong at that time, the amount of disruption. And this new version is in preparation for what people are doing now, which they call like Dolby Atmos, where it's like when you go to the movies and you're in a new theater and you hear like the car going from the back of your head to the front of the screen, or things going from side to side. You hear it all around your head like you hear natural sounds. And so we're doing a mix of it. This is the preview. Al has given 60 years of his life to make people forget their problems and have a good time by singing joyful, fun music. And, it's time for him to get a little pat on the shoulder. And I haven't been working that long, maybe 40, but it's what I love about music is that it's timeless. That here's this song from decades ago, and it's just as fresh and contemporary for people now.
Well, not only that, but his voice and the original. Didn't you? Some of the backup vocals are like the original. You used some of the original backup vocals for this song?
They're all original. And Carl Wilson, who sadly passed away in the late 1990s, who's the singer for Good Vibrations, God only knows, he's singing in the background along with Matt Jardine, Al's son.
Wow.
And we're putting it out on this. There's a digital kind of blockchain radio station called Peer Tracks, as in a joy of your peers, Peer Tracks. And it's basically just an enhanced version. So you really feel like you're at the ocean and you hear like the birds above your head, or you almost feel like the ocean coming in by your feet, as opposed to it's just being right and left stereo.
All right. Well, let us take a break right here, and we're going to continue talking with you, Larry, but I think it's a good time for our listeners to hear this song. Waves of Love 3.0 by Al Jardine and Larry Dvoskin. So take a listen, and we'll be right back with Larry on the line.
Hey, folks, you're listening to The Balcony Show. We have Larry Dvoskin on the line, talking about music and a myriad of other things. So let's just kick this right back over to you, Ann.
So, Larry.
I've been called worse.
How do you feel that AI is impacting the songwriting in general, both negatively and positively? Where do you see that going?
You know, everyone has an opinion on this, and I'm more of an optimist than a pessimist. So I'll give you an example. I played in bands as a kid. In the mid 80s, suddenly there were drum machines. Suddenly everybody was using this Lynn R8 drum machine for rock and roll and had this huge snare drum that sounded like every Phil Collins song. And then hip hoppers were using this Roland 808, and everyone thought, well, drummers are over. Like, we just have a machine. We don't have to use a drummer anymore. And then Nirvana came along and just with Dave Grohl, and it just kicked that in the teeth. And we've had drummers ever since. And we still have drum machines. We have lots of things like Ableton and other things that help people create music. So it's not an either or, it's a both and. And with AI, I think there's some positive things that can be helped. I certainly have seen AI art that blows my mind, where people are taking a photograph and adding in other elements, and it's like you're in some other dimension that is heavenly or hellish or whatever is your fancy. But I think with
Mad
music,
Cat's good at that.
Yeah, I think that, with music, people are going to still want to know who Taylor Swift is dating. And people are still going to want to rush to buy a Beyonce ticket or an Ed Sheeran ticket or go to the Sphere in Las Vegas and see U2. And that's something AI can't do. AI could create a sound, but music is more than a sound. It's also a feeling. And you need humans to create that feeling. You can use a drum machine. I have a synthesizer that can do a string quartet beautifully, and it sounds like, but it doesn't feel like when I put a microphone in front of a cello and viola, a violin, etc. It's a different texture, a different feeling. So I like what Grimes said. She said, if people want to sample my voice and create an AI song, give me part of the royalties. It's no different than Puff Daddy taking Every Breath You Take and rapping over the top of it, or the Sugar Hill Gang rapping over Rapper's Delight, which was Good Times by Noah Rogers. I just think it's an evolution. I'm more worried about its use in politics and the military and things like that can have real consequences
Yes,
right.
of
life or death for people. But, if you want to create a fake Beatles song, good luck with that. I think that both AI as well as song royalties, which have been decimated by streaming because the record companies came in and took equity in Spotify and some of these streamers. So they're making money because they have a valuation of a company, whereas the songwriters and publishers, get like far less. If you sold 1 million albums or 1 million, iTunes 99 or $1.99 singles, you'd have some real money in the bank. But 1 million streams is like, go to lunch at Starbucks and get an egg muffin.
You're changing that with the NFT and the Oasis and.
Well, what we're doing is we're creating, the start of the 20th century was an industrial revolution, and that led in somewhere between a sort of societal revolution in America with civil rights and women's rights and all kinds of things. And that led to a kind of data revolution where people were gathering data and feeding you ads. And that led to a kind of creator economy where people were crowdsourcing their albums or crowdsourcing a project they wanted to get off the ground. And we're moving into a community-based economy. And I'm seeing that with what we call Web3, which is a global term for all these developments, that people are finding community in, there are grandmothers who are having are TikTok stars cooking Italian food. It's not just teens jumping around with a silly, wolf head on or something.
Right.
So there's people are finding this direct relationship with community. What I'm doing is I'm working with a company. It's part of the NFT Oasis is called Provenance, as in proven once. And what the blockchain does for people it still sounds like a weird whatever, it's really just a ledger. And the ledger just proves that if you bought like a Picasso, it's really a Picasso. It's not just somebody who's like a great forger. Like it's on an immutable digital record. And most Fortune 500 companies are using it. And at Provenance, we're doing like concerts, and we're doing art walks, and we're doing conferences, and we're having like a big art collector of digital art just came on, and we just created a whole gallery, and people could come and talk to him or meet him, but from the comfort of their phone or their laptop at home, as opposed to being in real life, which is also obviously important post-COVID. But it just gives you a headquarters, that's global as opposed to local.
And you have something new in the works. Life is Larry. You have another book.
Yes, thank you. And it's just me telling my crazy stories, like my neighbors shouting at the Beach Boys to shut the freaking music off, because they're trying to sleep in the city that never sleeps. So I get to tell those stories, like, and that's what we are as a species. We're a storytelling species. And I've been lucky to be in moments where like a cultural lightning struck, whether it's being at CBGB's in that punk movement in New York, or even running around when Andy Warhol was alive and kind of seeing him everywhere, or being
and he was boring London. In real life?
Well, yeah. I mean, at least in my settings, we would, he seemed to go out, like if an envelope opened, he'd appear at the opening. He was such a good self-promoter. At least now, our looking back on the memory, our excitement meters need a little more than just like me because I'm an influencer. Like you kind of need a little more than that.
Yeah. Well, I think we have a little more in something you mentioned on our page. This is Donna, by the way. Hi, Larry.
What, say that again?
You had mentioned on our page partying with Queen with naked people in cages. We'd love to hear about that.
Well, yeah, and this is all part of Life is Larry. And if anyone doesn't believe what Anne said before about like just watching my socials go by, I'm for some odd reason the only Larry Dvoskin online. D like David, V like Victor, OS like Sam, KIN like New York. Follow Larry Dvoskin on anything. It could be Threads, Twitter, which is X, or Instagram, or WhatsApp. I don't know.
Okay, but you threw that tea bag out there, so now you got to spill the tea bag.
So in the 80s, my band, that I was a member of, opened for Queen. I have a couple of stories, but the one I mentioned was after their tour, they threw a party on a rooftop in London, and you went to this department store, which was weird. It was closed, and you got in an elevator with a girl who had like one of those 1920s like little like tuxedos on, like a bell cap with a little cap on, and then with a crank elevator with the accordion thing that closed. And you realize she was stark naked and body painted a tuxedo, like her tits were out and everything, but it was body painted like she was fully dressed. Then you got up to this rooftop, and there were these huge terrariums, and it looked like gigantic, like pythons were writhing in the sand. And then you realize these were naked people just sort of slowly doing this body sculpture thing. And it was like, what is going on here? What is that? and the whole audience was, at that time, this was the 80s, so it was when Freddie Mercury was their last tour, the Some Kind of Magic tour in the mid 80s. And, they had a jam session, and I found myself going, it is as if you could go from the audience to step into a movie screen and be on screen with your favorite actor or actress. Freddie singing, Brian playing guitar, I think John Entwistle from The Who playing bass, or maybe it was Bill Wyman from the Rolling Stones and Charlie Watts from the Stones playing drums with John Deacon. It was
So
crazy.
they hung together at that time then. Did a lot of them, so yeah, you were a part of that scene. I can just imagine. Actually, I ran into a chef that did a lot of catering for a lot of the big bands, and I told him, people like to talk to me, Larry, what can I tell you? But some of the things that he was telling me, I was like, you need to write a book, dude. You need
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You can't imagine your perception, I think, of somebody and who they really are sometimes are just like polar opposites. You know what I mean? They're not anything like you would imagine them to be, because of the persona on stage or.
Like, I find myself not wanting to meet because I don't want the star to ruin it for me. Like, I like them. Like, I like their character. Or I like their, their persona or whatever. It's like, don't ruin it, because I've met some celebrities and man, they suck. Like, in real life, they really, what a shame and what a bummer. Because I don't want that. Wherever you're taking me to in my fantasy world, like, I don't want you to take it away from me. So I'd rather not meet them.
Yeah. Well, set and setting have a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Like I read before I was in showbiz, like I heard stories of people like chasing the Beatles down, and somebody I think went to see Paul McCartney once in Ireland or Scotland, and they went all this way and kind of trespassed on his property, and he was like in the field or something, and he just looked at them and said goodbye and like left, and they were like really disappointed that they couldn't even have like a few sentences or a hello. And in my and I know, to give you an example, like when Paul McCartney tours, and this was in the 80s, and obviously after John Lennon was shot, like security was a big concern because he was murdered in the early 81, I think, or 80. But Paul McCartney toured with 3 different security teams, and the accountant for the tour told me, like, there's the visible security that goes with him. Then there's a plainclothes security that are there, but you don't know who they are. And then he told me there was still a 3rd layer that he never met, never seen, but he knew they existed because he was paying their salary. And so, like, put that against, I'm in the Hamptons a few years ago, and this is another life. It's Larry's story, and I come out of yoga covered in sweat in a tank top and like gym shorts, and Paul McCartney's just sitting on a bench, like right outside the yoga center, and looks me in the eye and smiles. And like projectile vomiting, I lunged at him and without even feeling or thinking, and said, I teach your song and songwriting like yesterday, like it's an F, but you start on a G. So you go yesterday instead of yesterday, it's yesterday, 2 different notes, and they clash. And he just looked at me like me. I didn't know what's wrong with it, and he was like, sit down. And I just sat down and got to ask him every question that a Beatles fan would have. And we were just sitting there, and, it's the Hamptons. So people are walking by and they're like, oh yeah, there's Paul McCartney, like, the Beethoven of the 20th century. And let's go in the store and have some food. Like nobody even stopped. And I found myself like singing at him parts, like, all my troubles seem so far, the far away is an E against a D. And then I thought, stop singing at Paul McCartney. Like he's the most famous singer, and you sucked so bad in high school, they took the microphone away from you. After one rehearsal, they're like, just play the piano, don't sing. So what happens in this weird, wacky life is you do meet stars, your heroes, and they can disappoint you. And that's really a truism. But I feel like that's a fear of almost anything in life. Like if you really go for your dreams and you fail, like what's better, to try and fail or to not try at all? So it's I've also met a lot of assholes, to be honest with you.
Yeah, very true.
They'll remain nameless.
We can talk offline. I'll tell you all the a-holes I know or met that were so incredibly disappointing.
But to answer your point, a lot of people on stage, like Freddie Mercury in person, toward me at least, was very shy. And they use their stage persona and their their instrument to be the alpha, to step out and to step into the spotlight.
Right.
And I find that's true with a lot of performers. They become this other person on stage, you know.
With everything that you have going on, Larry, how do you find the balance in your life? You know what I mean? Like, you have all these projects, you're involved in so many things, and you just had an anniversary. Congratulations with your partner.
Thank you. Yes.
How do you find a balance between, you know, like having time for your home life and for you, and how do you find that?
Well, there is obviously prescription medication. If you have the right doctor, feel good. There's that. And then there's just, I find like it's weird how time is. They say if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person. And I try to study success and even more study failure. And some of the people that I've met who are at the top of large organizations are the fastest to return an email. And obviously some of that's that they delegated to assistants and other people, like the grunt work. But I think that, you know, a lot of the lifeisms, you know, I found to be true, that when you're doing something you love, it's not work. So I've come home from a studio session and been more energized. I also really have done my own personal development work, and no is a complete sentence. You know, like I've learned to stick with what I'm good at.
Right.
And also taking time off. I just came from being in Laguna Beach, which is down here in you know, kind of Southern California. And it's this beautiful thing. And I just, in the midst of having 101 projects going on, I just said, you know, I have a couple of days, and if I'm going to stare at my phone and stare at the computer and emails, I might as well do it at the beach where I can take time off. So I think just taking time out of the day to have a walk in the park, a walk along the beach, or even just play with your pet or your kids, like doing something is like an inhale. It gives you energy.
Yeah. I feel like when you surround yourself with what feeds your soul or recharges your soul, just gets you going. You know, it's an inspiration.
And keep that in your music. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like artists lose that sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But now you have a song, "Live It All."
I was just going to mention that.
Now I would love to. Yeah, I would love to share after it's played the inspiration, because people will never guess. You know, like songs come from weird places, and this song is about life and how you go through failure and success, and you have it all and you lose it all, and you find like the dream, and the dream goes away the next day. It's all about like living this grand life that includes the whole toolkit.
Before our listeners do hear "Live It All," I want to say one thing that I found with this song was that there is an intimacy in this song. And I feel like the way that you sang it and the way that you approached it and the way that you delivered it, there is an intimacy. There's a connection with your audience, or whom you're speaking a truth or something to the people that that you're putting this out to. So I thank you. That's very kind. That is so. I'm gonna stop there, and we're gonna let everybody hear this song, and then we'll be right back. Okay?
Thank you.
Take a listen. "Live It All" by Larry Dvoskin, and we'll be right back.
I got to live by my own rules. I got to fall in the ignorance of fools. I got to feel without my soul when love comes to call. I got to live it all. I got to strive in a whole world
You're back on the Balcony Show with Larry Dvoskin, and our listeners just heard Live It All. So what was it that you wanted to tell us, Larry?
I wrote this song. It started in 2014. For me personally, as a songwriter, I just love this idea of sunlight streaming through branches, because as the sun moves, the light and the shadow go away. So it's about that temporariness of life. And you would never know it, because the song is actually about my condo board wanting to kick me out of my apartment after 14 years, because I had so many musicians coming in and out. After a while, they got like just sick and tired of a musician in the building. And we're like, we just, can't have this anymore. And so it's really about like, which is a very New York City thing. Like, apartments and real estate are a Herculean, like, Hunger Games kind of thing. That it's like a life. It's like the Squid Games. It's a life or death thing. Like, oh my God, there's an apartment that might come up in the building. Like, they started, a campaign of like, I'm having musicians there, and people are staying there and playing music late, and I really felt persecuted and unsafe in my home. So rather than fight with them, I just wrote a really good song that I wrote for myself. And that's why I think you feel it. And what you said about that intimacy, like, I'm really feeling a kind of joyful pain, which is the most potent human emotion, is that longing or that ache. And my own version of that is just reflecting on the present, really. But it's just sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly. I
Right.
try to really maintain that it's more that if I can do this crazy thing where I sucked in high school so bad they took the microphone away, that anyone listening, like, just be you and do you, and have faith that out of nowhere comes the break that you need, and you only need one or two doors opening.
All right. Well, listen, I'm going to say goodbye to you from this part of the show, and you'll be back with Bo in Indie Radar in just a moment. So thank you from me, Larry, for spending some time with me and Mad Cat and Donna. We surely appreciate it. Okay?
I love you guys. I love the Balcony Show.
And now it's time for Indie Radar with Bo Summer.
Welcome back to the Balcony Show. And on this Indie Radar segment this week, we've got Larry, who just crossed the aisle into my segment here. Thanks so much for spending some time with us and sharing your life stories. They're fun. They're fascinating. I love talking industry. And my expertise here on my segment is, what can we do? What can the Balcony Show do to help the indie artist out there with tips, industry info, news, trending things that are happening that can maybe help somebody out there that maybe just deserves a chance. So I wanted to tap your brain. I can talk about industry all night long, and I can keep you here forever. But I want to focus on, we're ending 2023 soon. So what do you see besides like AI? Because I want to like dumb it down to the kid or the band that's like just starting out, and they're thinking like, okay, what is 2024 going to bring as far as the industry is concerned? Like, what are the struggles do you think are going to be for indie artists in 2024? There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of competition. But at the same time, I see the positive, like you, that there's a lot of indie artists that are not signed, that are making money on tour. Their Spotify streams are in the millions, and yet nobody knows who they are. Unless you've gone to see them maybe locally at a show or, whatever. But they're building audiences and they're building fans, but that engagement is hard to keep. They're not making too much money because there's merch cuts. There's, Spotify is not paying, and on and on and on. So what are your thoughts for 24? What's your advice, and where do you see the industry going that could help an indie artist out?
Well, several things. I think it's never actually been a better time for an indie artist, because you can be the Richmond, north of Richmond. I might be dyslexic if it's Anthony Oliver or Oliver Anthony, but a guy just singing in his backyard with his dog, like, suddenly like 50 million people see it because it touches a chord.
Yes.
So we're entering a phase, what I would call the community economy. There's real communities coming together, and there's a place for everybody. And so one of the first things, and I talked to Ed about this, is the metaverse is almost where you can have a meetup, you can be in a room. I know that Billie Eilish, Travis Scott, a lot of big people have done, these epic Fortnite kind of concerts. And instead of being in a concert for 20,000 people, they're in a concert for 10 million people worldwide. So one of the things I'm going to throw out right away is with the Balcony Show, doing an indie fest with the company I'm working with, Provenance. We've been holding concerts, we've been holding art walks, we've been holding fireside chats. Businesses are coming in, like things are moving online where it's almost a mix of a concert and a video game, where you don't have to have those expensive goggles. You can just be on your phone or on your laptop, and you're there as an avatar, but you're kind of still connecting with fellow people in the audience and connecting with the artists. And it's a really unique experience, and it's a way to make money, like you talked about. It's flipped. Touring used to just be to promote an album because albums made the majority of money. But there's a whole new wave of financial prosperity for independent music creators, because all of these companies are popping up that want to replace Spotify, want to replace the major record labels. And if you're what's called a first mover, you're one of, they'll put a lot of attention on you. So there's a company called Gala Music, like GALA, and they're doing, they're especially promoting independent artists, and they have a huge global following. They came out of a gaming company, Zynga, that's like $1 billion gaming company. So they're literally spending money to promote independent artists that are not signed. And right now, these Web3 things, except for Ray and I, are kind of in a bear market. They're down. Mm-hmm. So that's the best time to go in, because you'll stand out, when...
Like you said, you're a first comer, or whatever the term was that you used. Yeah.
You're a first mover.
Makes sense. Yeah, first mover.
And so you're building the future as opposed to following along. I always try to find a lane that isn't crowded. And that's the thing that I would say to independent artists. And I would also say really collaborate and really take part in, if you're a singer, sing on other people's records. Like don't just sing your own music, because you never know where that break is going to come from. And people are worried, is somebody going to steal my song or hear it and copy it,
Mm-hmm.
And I say it's so hard to get stuff to go viral that if you threw yourself through the plate glass window of Sony Records, they wouldn't even notice. They'd be like, did you hear something? No, I didn't hear.
Right.
So don't worry about it. Don't worry about that.
Because it's just another noise out there that nobody's paying attention to. Yep.
People have they talk about the fear of failure, but there's also a fear of success. And I've seen more people say, oh, well, somebody's going to steal my song, or I better not put it out. And I'm like, dude, you have to compete with the other 59,999 people that drop something on Spotify today. I really don't think, I think if a manager, a label, a person wants to work with you, they want a golden goose, not a golden egg. So they want to work. Yes. They want to work with you, not steal your shit for one song.
Right, exactly. Well, Larry, thank you. I'm sure our listeners are very grateful for your advice and your insight, and I know we all are here at the Balcony Show. So thank you for spending some time. I'm sure in the future we would love to have you back on our show on Indie Radar, and let's talk more. Let's talk about metaverse and helping indie artists and first movers. And I am inspired. Let's go.
Let's go.
Well, with that, I'm going to wish you good night, and you have a wonderful evening. Don't be a stranger. And I know you've got things coming, so I know you'll be back.
Thank you all.
Good night, Larry.
Cheers.
Thanks, Larry.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. I'd like to remind everybody right now that the Balcony is proudly produced at Keiko Studios right here in Penargil, Pennsylvania. So check them out for all your musical production needs and more.
Do check them out. You guys will love this place. It's an old church. It's awesome. Dig it.
And it's still standing with Mad Cat in it. That's all I
right.
got to say.
My-
So, which means it's pretty
The
much
walls haven't
bomb-proof,
melted down.
fireproof.
My heathen self enjoys this.
Yeah.
But that's it. I'd like to thank Larry Dvoskin for spending some time with us here on the show. He's got so much information, and I hope,
So much knowledge, experience.
Wealth
It's
of
wonderful.
knowledge.
you know, I'm sure he'll be back on the show in the future because he's just got so much to share and insights that you're just, you know what I mean? He's a part of the business. And if you don't know who he is, with that, I'm going to say goodnight. And thank you again to Larry for spending some time with on the show. We love you, Larry. So we're going to end things tonight with the song from Sam Sims Band. And the name of the song is Swim.
There's a place where we used to lay and hear the waves by the never sink banks. When we were lost in an angry sea, I was washed into eternity. Now all I do is just think of you. I've tried to see you, but all I see is blue. While I'm waiting for these winds to blow, to sail to my love from long ago. Oh, sweet song, get me off of this island. I'd say it to you one more time, how I love you more than anything in this world. I'd swim to you if I could. I said, hey, you've been so far away. Hope that I can come back someday. I said, hey, you've been so far away. I hope that I can come back someday. Yeah. Oh, sweet song, get me off of this island. I'd say it to you one more time, how I love you more than anything in this world. I'd swim to you if I could. Oh, sweet song, get me off of this island. I'd say it to you one more time, how I love you more than anything in this world. I'd swim to you if I could. Sweet song, get me off of this island. I'd say it to you one more time, how I love you more than anything in this world. I'd swim to you if I could.